Welcome to another episode of Sons of Thunder. And Sean, how are we doing today?
I'm doing just fine,
Yeah.
Gordon. Yeah.
So if you guys have watched us before and you guys follow our channel, then you know that we usually start off with a Bible verse and our logo. But this one's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Why is it different? What was that, Sean?
Well, we're talking about the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
We're
So,
still relating it to the Christianity.
of course, we always do,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But so Sean and I have decided to do this show, but as we go along through the years, and you get be 80, and I'll still stay as young as I am today. We are going to always at different points bring in fun shows like this, where it's not such a hot button topic, and we definitely agreed that Lord of the Rings is something we both enjoy. And so it's a fun topic to deal with. And so we're going to do this every once in a while. And our first one is Lord of the Rings. Sean, why don't you start us off talking about this good series?
Sure. The thing is, I think you can see influences of the Bible in particular, and various characters throughout the books or the movies, as most people have seen. Um, I would say, though, that Tolkien was influenced by Christianity as a whole, but he's had other influences too. For instance, Tolkien, and this has influenced his work very much. He was a philologist.
Hmm.
Do you know what a philologist
No,
is?
Phil, no.
I didn't think that you did. Anyways, there's a guy who, it's a person, doesn't have to be a guy, who studies language and its
Okay.
origins and maybe its cultural influences
I
and that
did
sort of
know
thing.
he did that. I didn't know that was the name of it.
Yeah, well, and he's also he was a professor of English and literature. So that's obviously had a huge impact on the books. I mean, you can see it in the writing. The guy creates his own languages in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Everybody talks about how he was super smart and how he created his own language that
Yes.
you can read, and he has like grammar in it and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and
Yeah, grammar you could follow. It's just not just making up words and putting
yeah,
them out on
yeah.
a page, right? And yeah, he created that. The other another major influence aside from Christianity, I think, is his World War One
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, there was that movie not that long ago about Tolkien.
yeah, Tolkien.
That
Yeah,
was a good movie.
yeah.
It was.
He served in many engagements during that war, particularly the Battle of the Somme. Now, this was a battle which was called, let's see, one of the deadliest battles in human history.
Really?
Yeah. Uh, Basically, the German hordes streamed across the border into France, and the Brits and the French fought them off. And some like a million guys, men, were wounded or killed during that battle.
He was in there. He
Yeah,
was fighting in there.
that's yeah. It's a pivotal
Wow.
battle, one of the deadliest in history. Period.
Know
Not
that.
just of World War One. So he learned a lot about being in very difficult situations where your back's against the wall and you keep fighting anyway. Which I think we both know, or all of us know, everybody watching knows that that's a major theme.
Oh yeah, that comes out big in the movies and the books, where you know the odds are stacked against you, and all that type of stuff, and especially the big battle scene in the Twin Towers, right, where they're all you have tons of them coming in, and they're just in this castle that's put into the rock, and they all have to fight their way out, and all of that.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. And there's scenes like that throughout the movies. Uh, and the point being, you just always it was a never surrender kind of attitude and self sacrifice and that sort of thing. But okay, to moving on though, he was influenced by his Christianity. He was certainly a devout Catholic, and he was a friend of C.S. Lewis, who I would believe was probably the greatest Christian author of the last century, hands down.
yeah, and with C.S. Lewis, he goes into more, I would say, child. He gets big because of his children books with the Chronicles of Narnia. But he has other novels. He has other. The Space Trilogy is one that first comes to mind.
Screw tape letters,
Screw Tape Letters, and
mere Christianity.
the thing that's very key about C.S. Lewis and Tolkien is, like you said, they were friends. They talked to each other, but Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, and he wasn't going to put it out. He was very self-conscious about his stuff, and C.S. Lewis read it, and he's like, "This stuff is great. You have to put this out." And so C.S. Lewis was a big contributor to Tolkien publishing Lord of the Rings.
Well, they read each other's works.
Yeah, yeah. And so both of them go hand in hand whenever you're talking about either one of them. So C.S. Lewis is a big part of Lord of the Rings, even though it's not his books.
Yeah. Well, okay, but I think that one of the main places that you can see the Christian influence in the books, movies, is in the character of Gandalf.
Okay. Tell me how.
Okay, we'll just start off. Yeah, there we go. There's Gandalf there. That's Gandalf the Gray, and then later Gandalf the White.
Yeah.
Now, Gandalf, of course, was considered. I'm going to say that I believe that Gandalf is a type of Christ. That is to say, he's a symbol of Christ.
Okay.
It's not one to one. Like if you look in other books, like for instance, Lion, Witch, and a Wardrobe, you have Aslan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aslan, he's more than just a symbol of Christ. He actually is Christ.
Right.
Gandalf, on the other hand, he is not Christ, but he's a symbol. He has aspects of Christ in his character and in the things he does.
Would you say that his aspects of Christ are more than others in the books?
Yeah, in my opinion, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why? Because I think I disagree.
Well, nah, okay, you can disagree if you want, but for instance, Gandalf was. This is one of the smaller things, but Gandalf, of course, was considered this wise man. He's fighting. Has some unearthly kind of powers, at the very least, where they seem supernatural.
Yeah.
And he's fighting for the side of good against Sauron, whom I think is basically a symbol of the devil.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay,
with that.
so those are all very similar to Christ. So that's some broad outlines there. It fits. Number two, Gandalf was betrayed by someone that was supposed to be with him, that he was supposed to be able to trust. That would be Saruman. Saruman actually,
Sauron the White. Yeah.
Sauron. Yeah. Sorry. Saruman, who was actually in league with Sauron. So I think the names get confusing.
Yeah. Sauron.
He was
Sauron.
in league. He was in league with Sauron, who seems like a symbol of the devil to me.
Yes. They were both in they were in the wizard group together, and you can see this in the movies. You see it even more in the books if you guys have read the books. But they worked together for the longest time. They considered each other's opinions and thoughts important until we come to the Lord of the Rings, like the trilogy. That trilogy, then it seems like Sauron persuaded Saruman away from kind of what is good and right, while Gandalf stayed good.
Yeah, and all those similarities are there, and I think that you can at least sort of agree with some of them. Here's a big one though to me, where I really see a similarity, is that Gandalf, while they're in Mordor, there's that famous scene where he stands and says, "You shall not pass."
You shall not pass.
Yeah, that was not necessary.
That was exactly.
All right.
I used my voice for the movie.
Yeah. Okay. At any rate, he ends up falling, perhaps to his death, or who knows what. It doesn't say that he actually died, but we know that the hobbits afterwards were weeping as though he had.
Yeah, everybody thought he died, and then he came back, right?
Right. And then what happened whenever the Lord was crucified?
He came back.
He came back, but also, and at the same time, some of his followers, a lot of his followers, were weeping and dejected uncontrollably because they thought that he was dead, and they didn't believe or realize that he was going to come back.
Yeah, I would say this point of his death and then somewhat resurrection, if you want to call that, and then changing his persona. It seems like he has more power even after this.
He does.
As he becomes the White. I think that's a big key to your point. I would actually say that Aragorn would be close to would be a symbol of Christ more, because Christ is the Messiah that we are waiting for. He's the coming king, and all three books are talking about when's the king going to come? Where is the king who's going to take over? Who are we following? I'll take the reign for being the king, and you're not fit to be the king. I'll be the king. And this whole time, Aragon is just kind of quietly doing good work. He's quietly with the people. He's quietly fighting for good and against evil all the time. And people gather around him, and he leads them into the end. And now we could all say about Frodo, how Frodo, was the final point to make the good and bad switch. But he is the king at the end, right? The third book is talking about the return of the king, and that's Messiah and the coming king and the promised king, and he's the one that's been here the whole time, like Christ. So I would take Aragon as as a symbol of Christ.
I can see what you're saying, especially if you're talking about Messiah and the Lord being king and comparing him to Aragorn and that.
So
aspect.
One good thing about these books and why I love these books so much and why I love the storyline that Tolkien has done, not only in Lord of the Rings, but in Hobbit and other books that he did, the Silmarillion, which is kind of like the creation of Middle Earth and all of that, is because he puts Christian narratives, Christian thoughts, he puts characters that you could see from the Bible into his characters. And one of the big things that I really like about it is that he claims he doesn't do that. Right? He has said tons of times, I don't do that. He actually said he didn't like doing that.
He doesn't, I don't know if he said that, but he doesn't deliberately, he doesn't try to do that deliberately. Yeah. I don't think he does.
But I think C.S. Lewis did try.
Well, no, he absolutely did.
And when it comes
Lewis was trying to create allegorical stuff, but the thing is, if you are at the center of your soul, a Christian, whether you're trying to or not, that's going to come out of you.
Yeah.
And that's going to be in your creativity and in your everyday speech. Even when you're not trying to, if it's who you are, it's going to be part of what you create.
Right. And that doesn't only come with believers. It comes with everybody. If you believe in something, though you may not be putting that into a storyline or something that you draw or a creation that you make, you're putting it in whether you want to or not because you really believe this is truth. This is how it needs to be. So things, conform around that creation or that story that you're making.
That's absolutely correct. I just wanted to point out though, there's one other aspect about Gandalf is that when he did come back, his followers or the people that were his friends didn't recognize him at first.
Right. Yes, and that's a good point.
Think about the road to Emmaus.
Yes.
When when the Lord comes back, people don't recognize him at first.
Yeah, it took them a while to figure out who he is.
He was revealed the same thing as Gandalf was.
I will say that's because they thought it was Sauron because he was in white. Gandalf came in white. So they thought it was him.
They weren't exactly sure who he was, but the point being, he comes back. He's not wounded by anything. Was he risen from the dead or not?
That's a good point.
Who the heck knows? And he's changed, just like the Lord is somewhat changed, a little bit changed too. Yes. We're going to have, like the Lord, we're going to have a resurrection body at his coming. And I think we'll sort of look the same, but maybe not entirely. At any rate,
that's a good point.
He was changed the same way that the Lord was. He gets revealed to his followers just like the way the Lord was. I mean, it's the correspondence is there, man.
Okay, well they're there, but they're your opinion. People are allowed to have
their own. I'm right about what I'm saying.
So your opinion's right while mine's wrong. Yeah.
If you're disagreeing with me, then at the very least, I believe that I'm right, or it wouldn't be my opinion.
Okay. I'll agree with you on that.
Well, okay. Thank you very much.
All right. So, Sean, I got something that's a little bit different. We usually come into this with we plan, we know what we're going to do, but I'm going to catch you on the spot a little bit, okay?
All right. What?
All right. So I have a couple questions that's going to, challenge your Lord of the Ring-isms. Okay. And how much either you know it or how about you know about the people around it.
Okay.
And then we'll keep on. We'll go a little further into the storyline on my side. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm not a person for trivia, if that's what you're saying.
We'll see.
All right.
All right. So first of all, just a simple question: who is your favorite character in Lord of the Rings? Is it Gandalf?
It's Boromir.
It's Boromir.
Yeah, I love Boromir.
Boromir.
He he did something wrong. He really screwed up, and but then he wanted to use the ring for various purposes and wanted to take it from the hobbits, of course. But then he saw the errors of his ways,
Yeah.
error of
Okay.
his way, and then he went out fighting, trying to do the right thing.
Okay.
It was a good death too.
We didn't plan this. We did not plan this, but Boromir's my favorite character too. One of the reasons why I love Boromir is because, somewhat like you said, where he was a hero. If you look him up, it says hero, but it says fallen hero, and it talks about how this man is kind of like us in life. We go through things constantly,
Right.
and we keep on trying to do good, and we fail at it. But we always want to do good, and we try to do good till the end, right? And so that one of the reasons why I love Boromir, especially because of his death. He was a pincushion, and he still wouldn't go down. That's awesome.
He redeemed himself by those actions. I mean, I think he paid for it with his life. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I love
his mistake.
Okay, well that's cool. We share the same in this. So one of my questions was who's my favorite. So then I just told you that's
right.
So all right, here's another question. How many wizards were there in Middle Earth?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know.
No, why would I? Okay. Well, tell us, Corden, how many wizards
were
there?
5 wizards.
All right.
Okay. 2 were blue, and they're no named. They go way off, and no one knows where they're at. Okay, not even the other wizards. They don't even know where it's at. There's Gandalf, right? So that's 3, and Gandalf is the gray. Then we have Saruman, the white, and then we have Ragadash, the brown. And Ragadash was, if you watch the Hobbit movies or you read The Hobbit, he is kind of like, he's always a quirky one. He's always a weird one. He's talks to animals. He's more like the nature one, but he's brown.
Okay, I remember him.
Yeah, so that's a little bit, now you know a little bit, okay?
All right.
Okay, get to know more. Who is the man, our man behind the curtain? What is his favorite character?
Chumley? I don't know what his favorite comic is.
You don't know his favorite character?
No.
His favorite character is the man who owns this sword that I brought in, Theoden. Theoden was the king of the Rohan Riders, right? And that was I got this sword years and years ago, but that's Theoden's sword. And I actually, when we were talking about Boromir, I wanted to get Boromir's shield.
Yeah.
That shield looked awesome.
That would be really cool.
But I couldn't find it, so I went to the second choice, which is a good choice, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like
it. Choice. So another one is, and this kind of will go further than what we're talking about, right? So my second favorite character, you don't know who he is. I know you don't.
No, I don't know.
Okay? But his name is Talon. Put that picture up. This guy right here. This is Talon.
That's a BA rendition at the very least, man. That's really cool.
Yes, it is. Now, his eyes are glowing, and his hand is glowing, if you see. And he is actually a lot alike our favorite character, Boromir.
Right.
They both came from Minas Tirith, and they're both men of Gondor, right? But like Aragorn, our boy Talon right here, he's a ranger. Okay, and he actually led the Gondor Rangers. He was like the captain of their guard. All right. The evil of Sauron attacked where he was stationed at. Actually, in the first movie of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, right? Whenever they're all around deciding how to get the ring of power into the mountain, our boy Boromir, right? He says, if I had this power, if I had the ring, I would go back to the gates of the Black Gate in Minas Tirith. And that's where my boy right here, Talon, was working at. He was a guard of Gondor at the Black Gate. And so our boy Boromir wanted to kind of go back and help even this guy who's probably lived around the same time. Now, where does this guy reside? He's in the time period of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. So he's in the in the middle of that time. So the evil is just arising, and the light blue, highlighted blue, is because of another character named Celebrimbor. And Celebrimbor's dead, but he was the one who created all the rings. He was the creator of the rings, and, and Sauron kind of changed him. Yeah. So in Celebrimbor is dead, but in this is a video game. There's 2 video games, and this guy is the leader of the video game. And in the video game, Celebrimbor is like a wraith. It's like a ghost, and he inhabits Talen's body, and they kind of use his strength as a human and the power of a wraith.
Well, as far as video games go about Lord of the Rings, I don't think you can beat Lord of the Rings online. It's
really?
The best one.
Well, I mean, that's because, once again, it's your opinion. And your
well, I've been playing that for like 10 years, so apparently I think it is the
longer you
best.
play something, the more it's true.
No, it's just obviously my opinion, which I happen to think is true.
Okay,
for good reason.
Okay. Well, my opinion is this game is better, and this guy is top tier Lord of the Rings quality of characters.
All right, then.
All right. So we have a bunch of. We always love doing this. We always love bringing up topics. This is one of the fun ones. Hopefully that we can agree on another fun topic as we go further. We didn't have a verse of the day, right? But we are having a quote of the day. Yeah. And the quote of the day is from J.R.R. Tolkien, obviously. Why don't you read that for us?
But in the end, it's only a passing thing. This shadow, even darkness must pass.
That is an awesome quote.
Love it.
And not only that, it's awesome because it deals with the stories that he has created.
Yeah.
But it also deals with life.
It's about all the evil that we're going through, all this darkness. It's all going to pass, just like the stories. You just keep muddling through things. They're terrible in the meantime, but in the end, it's going to be good.
And why is it going to be good? Because
our Lord, the King, returns.
Aragorn.
Yes.
All right. So this has been another episode of Sons of Thunder. We hope you enjoyed it. And any other topics, concerns, questions you have, please comment. Please subscribe and like, and we'll see you next week.